this lab, there were two parts. The first part looked at two different grades of beef steaks and examined their differences, and the second part examined the different tenderization methods on a tougher cut of meat. These are the items needed for the first part of the lab. I tried my best to cut each steak about 4 ounces. The first steak is prime steak. This steak had a rich, deeper red color with a good amount of intramuscular fat, which is known as marbling, and that contributed to the steak's flavors, juiciness, and tenderness. The muscle fibers aren't very noticeable. Next is the choice steak, which is a lighter red, has less marbling compared to the prime steak, and the muscle fibers are a little bit more noticeable. These are the two steaks next to each other. The choice is on the left and the prime is on the right. You can really see the difference in color and the marbling. Since there is not as much marbling on the choice, some parts of the steak will have more flavor, juiciness, and tenderness compared to the prime where it would be more evenly throughout. I seasoned them with steak seasoning. After that, I added 2 tablespoons of oil into the pan and then seared each side for 90 seconds to lock in the juices. I placed them into the oven at 450 degrees for about 8 minutes. I don't eat meat, so I had my trusty tasters try each of the steaks. Based on the feedback I got, the prime steak was medium rare and was very tender and soft. It was kind of juicy, had good flavor, and my tasters said that they won't get another steak well again after tasting, and this was the best choice. For the choice steak, they said it was a little chewy but still tender, very juicy, and had good flavor as well. These are the items needed for the second part of the lab, and I chose flank steak. I went ahead and pureed fresh pineapple and marinated the piece of steak for about 13 minutes. The no treatment piece didn't have anything, and you can really see the muscle fibers a lot more, which shows it would be tougher and a little bit harder to chew. The next piece was the mechanical tenderizer, and I gently pounded the meat from the middle out. For the commercial tenderizer powder, I sprinkled it evenly and then pierced it with a fork so the enzyme can go through. These are all of them before going into the oven, and here are them after. For the no treatment, the browned outside highlights the muscle fibers, and my tasters said that it was juicy, tender, and tasted like a regular piece of meat. The mechanical tenderizer was juicier and more tender, but still tasted like meat. The commercial meat tenderizer powder piece was juicy, and they said it was more tender than the no treatment and mechanical tenderizer pieces, and that it had a little bit more of a flavor, even though it didn't have any seasoning on it. The pineapple tenderizer piece, they said, wasn't very juicy. It was tougher than all the others. It was chewy, had a bubblegum texture with no taste. Overall, when choosing for a good steak, look for even marbling and rich red color because that means oxygen is present and it's a good quality. And when dealing with a tougher meat, the mechanical method produced a more juicy result, and the commercial tenderizer powder resulted in a more tender outcome.